Faith. What is faith? Faith is the ability to see the invisible, to believe the impossible, and most importantly, to trust the unknown. And that is what you've given us this season, guys. On behalf of my team and I, we really do appreciate, and from the deepest part of our hearts, we want to say thank you so much. Today, I want us to have a candid conversation about, and listen very careful, the power of thinking big. Just as the title of this video suggests, don't think small. And when you are not thinking small, definitely we are thinking big. I always believe that all of us, we are born with a level of genius in us. All that matters or depend is how do we use this ability. Because majority of us are trapped that we don't know if we have these abilities. That is what we'll be talking about today. And as we are talking about thinking big, these are the steps that you must always tend to have at any given point. The first step of thinking big is try to seek not to understand things, but understand the nature of things. To elaborate this for us to understand it clearly, take a very good example. You've gone to a showroom, you want to purchase a vehicle. Say, for example, you're talking about this electrical vehicle, EVs. I want to purchase a very nice Tesla. Currently, I don't have a Tesla, but I believe one of these days I'll be having a Tesla. That is the power of faith. So, you need to understand how the EV works. In that case, of course, probably if you are new in driving, you'll have to learn first of all how to drive. That is what you need to know. But if you go further and try to understand the genesis of how this vehicle kind of were produced, in that the technology that was used, the parts that were assembled to the point that these vehicles started to move, the moment you are able to understand how this vehicle was brought into being, that is the most important thing that you must always have whenever you're talking about the power of thinking big. Because if you do understand the whole process of it, you'll find that you'll not be able to know how to drive, but instead you'll also be able to fix a problem when a breakdown comes. Probably when you experience a breakdown of that vehicle, you are going to fix that problem. So in many times in our lives, business-wise, relationship-wise, we normally tend to see things how it has been presented to us. The UI, the user interface of what has been presented to us, but we never kind of try to focus what is at the back end. And that is what we must learn always to do, to understand the nature of things. Take a very good example whenever we talk about the nature of things, talk about money. We all want to have this money, a lot of it to say. Some believe that working so hard, you are going to get a lot of money. Some do believe that taking a lot of risk is what is going to bring in a lot of money. But the richest guys believe that what I've come to learn is that they do understand the nature of money. What does money likes? Money likes to be kind of take it as a monopoly. It likes to own things on its own. So you'll find that the moment you are able to understand the nature of things that you're doing, if it is business, you want to enter into a business, everyone can register a business name, can open a bank account, can create a website, but those who will succeed are those who will understand the nature of the market that they are operating in. Those who will succeed are the guys who will be able to understand the whole genesis of the market that you're operating to the point of when the idea of coming up with that product or coming up with that service came into being. So you'll find that if you'll be able to understand the nature of this market, that is what will make you unique. And that is the first step that you must always tend to have at the back of your mind whenever you're talking about thinking big. The other key element, allow me to use the philosophy of my mentor, that is Vusi. Once said that every human beings were born with the ability to imagine, the ability to think big, to be completely unbound and unlimited. Therefore, the limitations that we do have as human beings are learned. The constraints are man-made. And when I'm talking about constraints, kindly don't confuse it with the principles, the laws that do govern us. Because we are talking about the principles, like say today, if you decide to take poison, of course, it is a physiological fact that you'll die. If today I've decided that I'm going to the top of KICC and jump, of course, I'm going to die. The aspect of law of gravity. So, at this point, to be kind of very clear, when you're talking about constraints, take a very good example of a stop sign. Yeah? Allow me to use a very good example of a stop sign. This is humanly made. Of course, as Vusi mentioned, there wasn't, or we don't have anywhere in the Bible or even Quran where it says that on the 8th day the Almighty created the stop sign, right? So at this point, the stop sign, this is designed by human, and the main reason is to guide you as a person and also the person next to you, because you'll do stop so that you create a path to another person. In this case, we have come to learn about that, and of course they were made by the human beings. So the second step of thinking big is to learn when these constraints apply to you. Yeah, is to learn when these constraints apply to you. Because many a times we normally tend to fail to achieve what we've set in our mind simply because I will feel that I don't have enough capital to start my business. I will feel like I don't have enough resources to do this and this. I don't have this and this and this. Many a times, always learn to tell that voice inside you to shut up. Not always, but many a times, learn to tell that voice inside you. And once we are able to learn this, you will find that at no any given point in our lives will we ever have an obstacle of saying, maybe you are saying that it is because of this that I didn't achieve this. So long as we learn how and when this constraint works, you'll find that it will be very easy for us to achieve whatever that we've set in our mind to achieve. The key element is for us to have the will and the zeal to achieve whatever we've set our mind to achieve. On this path of thinking big, I'll also want us to have a chat about this concept of perfection. That's a key element that I want us to talk about. Absolutely no one was created perfect. You have your own flaws. I do have my own flaws. And the fact that God, or let me put it this way, if God wanted us to be perfect, He wouldn't have given us free will. He wouldn't have allowed us to choose. Because choice will always give birth to imperfection. And that's why we've made a lot of mistakes. Personally, I've made a lot of mistakes. Personally, I've wronged a lot of people, either knowingly or unknowingly. Personally, I've kind of done so many things that aren't right. But as at the end of the day, they are not written in my face. These are scars. Scar will always remind you that you got that injury as a result of something that you did, as a result of either an accident. And if it is unavoidable, of course, you'll always tend to avoid because of that scar that you see in your hand, because of that scar that you see probably in your leg or at any given point. So, friends, scars will always be there, but we should not always dwell with the past. The past is gone and is gone completely. So, our focus should always be what we really want to achieve in our future. And that is another great path that you must focus on in our path to thinking big. Don't dwell on your past, but allow your past to be a lesson that will assist you to make wiser decisions, to make probably a good decision as we proceed. So that is also another case or area where we can always be kind of open-minded on the same. The key element that I want to drive here is that don't allow the past to define your future, but allow it to be part of a lesson that you need to achieve. Then, the other element that I'll really love to share with us, of course, in this path of thinking big, allow me to read this about T.D. Jakes. He mentioned this, that when people walk away from you, let them go. Your destiny is never tied to anyone who leaves you. And it doesn't mean they are bad people. It just means that their part in your story is over. I repeat this again. Listen to this. This was a quote from T.D. Jakes. He mentioned that when people walk away from you, let them go. Your destiny is not or is never tied to anyone who leaves you. And it doesn't mean they are bad people. It doesn't mean that they are bad people. It just means that their part in your story is over. Guys, that is powerful. That means that only you and you alone have that key to open what you want to achieve. Take a very good example. Allow me to use this case. Probably I'm staying in Langata, or maybe I'm staying in whichever place I'm staying. Assuming, let me take a case of Langata. I'm in CBD, Nairobi. I want to go to Langata. Probably on my way I'm driving, I've seen a person there. Hey, how are you? It's kind of raining. I want to see this person. Hey, where are you? Where are you heading? I'm going to Nyayo. Okay, I'm heading to the same path. Why don't you enter? Give you a lift. Another person. Hey, hi. Where are you heading? I'm heading to Madaraka Estate. Hey, where are you heading? I'm heading to Timor or Carnival. All of these people, I've met them on my path, on my way. Of course, I'm going to give them a lift. And when this person reaches, say, Nyayo, the person will alight. When this person reaches Madaraka, the person will alight. When this person reaches probably at maybe Carnival, this guy will alight. These are ways towards my route. And when they alight, I shouldn't feel bad because they have reached their destination on my journey. I wasn't meant to go with them to my destination in Langata. So at this point, you will find that, yes, you will meet a lot of people in your path to greatness, in your path towards achieving your dream, in your career path, in your business path, you will meet a lot of people. And once they have alighted, it doesn't mean that your story is over. It only means that they have already served their purpose. So, as we are in this path of greatness, never and never allow to be brought down by anyone, simply because these people are kind of gone. They were part of us, they were part of me, but they are no longer part of me again. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Take it in a positive way. They were never meant to be there. They don't hold your destiny. So, in your path to greatness, we should always learn to put a full stop and start a new paragraph. That is what you must always learn. We should always learn to put a full stop and start a new paragraph. Once you've learned that, trust me, you are going to achieve whatever that you've set your mind to achieve. To that point, guys, I would have really wished to share a lot of facts with you when you're talking about thinking big. And basically, this is for the young generation. This is for the youths. We have the ability to achieve whatever that you want to achieve. You have the keys to open that door. So, it all depends with you. And in the fullness of time and in the grand scheme of things, when you learn how to follow the path of your destiny, when you learn how to think big, you'll find that all these things will just flow. So friends, as we are preparing to open a new chapter of our lives, I'll want to leave this with you. And I really hope in this season of your life, you will unshackle the chain of your past, take off the clothes of your failures, and once again, wear the face of your future. Guys, thank you so much for being part of this conversation. And it is my hope that in future, we'll be having more of this conversation. To this point, let us learn to think big, because there's always a magic in thinking big. Thank you so much.